What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Ethan Horror. This is Ethan Horror, and today we are back with episode 11 of our Halloween Spooktacular. I have to record 3 of these today because I'm really behind, so let's just try to get through as many of these as possible, as quickly as possible. Today, we are going to be going through my top 10 horror movie sequels better than the original. I thought about just doing horror movie sequels, but that's not as fun. Let's get a little bit controversial with it. Top 10 sequels better than the original. Let's get started.
I want to play a game.
Here's Johnny!
This is God. It's showtime.
But it brings us to our current suspects. Ethan.
Coming in at number 10, I have Leprechaun 3. It was either this one or Critters 2 that I was going to put on the list because I just needed a 10th one, and I do think they are better. I do think Leprechaun 3 is better than the original Leprechaun, but I think there's quite a few Leprechaun movies better than the original. I just think that this one is more fun. And that's what the Leprechaun movies should be. They're just a fun little slasher movie, and this one is super fun. You get Leprechaun in Las Vegas, you get a bunch of unique kills, you get a bunch of insane concepts. This is the only Leprechaun movie that I'd say I might rewatch and be happy to rewatch it because it's fun. It's a crazy movie. Coming in at number 9, I have Annabelle Creation, and I'm not saying it's better than the original Conjuring. I'm saying it's better than the original Annabelle, which is not saying much because the original Annabelle is one of my least favorite movies ever. I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's not that bad. No, for me, the original Annabelle is pretty bad. It's boring, and you need to watch Annabelle Creation to understand the original movie, which is stupid. But Annabelle Creation is a pretty good movie. I think it actually does well with what it's trying to do. It's scary at some points. It has some genuinely good scares. It's the only Annabelle movie that I think actually is scary. Has some genuinely good scares. I think it handles Annabelle very well with a lot of the backstory that it gives. It handles some good emotional beats where it's actually scary and a little bit sad at sometimes. I think it handles all the characters well. I think it's the only good Conjuring universe movie besides the first 2 Conjurings, which again isn't saying much, but it is definitely better than the original Annabelle, and it is going to be number 9 on my list. Coming in at number 8, I have Insidious Chapter 3. Now, if you guys haven't seen my Insidious ranking video, I said that it's basically just because Insidious 3 is more scary, and I stand by that. I do think Insidious 3 is more scary. Because they focus more on the actual scares rather than just jump scares. The original Insidious is great, and I love the movie, but I do think Insidious 3 is better just because I think it handles the characters 1,000 times better than it does in the original. It's more scary, like I said, because it doesn't rely on the big, crashes and booms to make you jump out of your seat because, sound is a huge aspect of jump scares, and I think Insidious 3 is better at not relying on the music and the crashes and the booms to make you jump. They just more rely on the atmosphere and the lead up to the jump scare. So there is definitely still some jump scares, but I think they do them a lot better than they do in the original. I think it's scarier. I think characters are better. So Insidious 3 is my number 8. Coming in at number 7, I have Aliens. Now, you guys know there's 2 boats you can be in. You're in the original Alien, or you're in Aliens boat. I've always been in the Aliens group because it is the perfect mix of action, horror, sci-fi. I think the perfect mix, and it even has some scary moments where I think the original is just sci-fi with a little bit of horror. This one's more actiony. It's got more of the xenomorphs in it. It's focusing less on the scares. I mean, there is definitely some scary moments in it, but they're focusing more on the action sci-fi part of it, and I love action movies, I love sci-fi movies, and I love the bit of horror that you get in this. I think Aliens is the perfect mix for an alien movie, and it's going to be my number 7. Yeah, it was my number 1 on my Aliens list, or my Alien ranking list, so. Coming in at number 6, I have Unfriended Dark Web. I have always thought, since I watched Unfriended 2, that it is better than the original. And again, kind of like Insidious 3, it's because I think it's Unfriended Dark Web is scarier. I've always thought found footage is the scariest subgenre in horror. I mean, you get Blair Witch Project, Paranormal Activity, Cloverfield, like all of those terrifying movies. VHS even is pretty scary, but I've always thought Unfriended Dark Web is scarier than the original simply because it's more realistic. It's less about the demon or like ghost part of it because like I'm, you know, you can believe in whatever you want. Personally, I don't believe in ghosts, so that movie just seemed more like, yeah, this is never gonna happen. But it's still scary. I do believe the original is scary. It's just, but like, the Unfriended Dark Web is more grounded, more realistic. It's about the internet. It's about all the things, like the dark web, all the bad things that could happen. I mean, someone gets swatted. That's one of the scariest parts for me. It's about how terrifying the internet could be, and that's a very realistic and grounded take that I think more horror movies should focus on. So it's going to be number 6. Coming in at number 5, I have Child's Play 2. Now, if you go back to my first video, don't watch it, you can see that Child's Play was my number 1. But if you go back to the re-ranking, watch that one, then you can see Child's Play 2 has since taken my number 1 spot. And I think it's just because you get more Chucky, man. I mean, the original, people didn't know it was Chucky. But once you have seen the original film and you see like that Chucky only gets to be himself for like half the movie, you want to see him go full balls to the wall for Jesus. You want to see him go full balls to the wall for a movie. And that's what Child's Play 2 is. It's basically the original done a little bit better with a little bit better characters, and you get to see Chucky going ham the entire time. It's got some great kills, some of my favorite kills of the franchise, and possibly the greatest final act to any slasher movie ever with the doll factory, which I love all the antics that go down there. I love Chucky, and it's my number 5. Coming in at number 4, I have Final Destination 3 and 2. I couldn't decide which one I liked more, but I know I like them both better than the original Final Destination, which isn't saying much because I'm not a huge fan of the original. I do think the original has a great concept. It definitely introduced a great franchise, but as far as horror movies go, the original is not that great, and I do prefer most of the sequels, except the Final Destination. That movie is horrible, but part 2 and 3 I think are pretty good. I used to say part 3 was like confidently my favorite. I'm not sure if I'd still lean there, but I do love part 3. It's got some good kills with Jesus, especially with the nail gun kill. The nail gun kill is great. But part 2 has some great kills as well, and I think they both managed to best the original just by doing it better, honestly. Like, they just take the concept, do it a little bit better, have some better kills, and that's enough for me. Now, there's a couple movies I could have picked for my number 3, but I decided to go with Saw 2. There's a few that I prefer to the original. I honestly could put Saw 5 here, or even Saw X, I think I prefer to the original, so, but I decided to go with Saw 2, because that is my favorite of the franchise. I don't know if it was my number 1 when I did my Saw ranking, but it is definitely my number 1 now. You get the Nerve gas house place. That's the main trap subplot. That's great. With all the, different criminals that the cop has arrested, and then the kid being the son of the cop. That's a great twist. Great twist. But then the even better twist comes later when, spoiler alert, you realize that the cop, Donnie Wahlberg, has been watching stuff that's already happened in the past. So they're looking for these people that are in this trap trying to save them, when you realize that they're already dead and that happened in the past, and his son has been in the room with them the whole time. I do like that you get to see more Jigsaw. He's actually not just lying on the ground the whole movie, and he's there the entire time. So yeah, I think it bests the original in almost every way. Coming in at number 2, go check out my horror hot takes video if you want to know more about this one. Number 2, I have Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2. Now, I'm not saying that the original Blair Witch is bad. You'll see my top 50 horror movies later today. It is great. I love the original Blair Witch. I just love part 2 a little bit more. I don't know what it is. I don't know why everyone hates it and why everyone says it's garbage. I've always got enjoyment out of it, and I think it's honestly a pretty decent movie. It's pretty scary at some points too. I really like Book of Shadows. Okay, not saying everyone has to, just saying I think it's good. And as if I haven't talked about this movie enough, not only in this Halloween Spooktacular, but just in my channel, I think I've talked about it like 15 times now. Freddy vs. Jason. It's my favorite sequel from the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise and from the Friday the 13th franchise. But I'm actually not going to talk about Freddy vs. Jason. I'm going to talk about Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter, because that is also, I think, better than the original Friday the 13th. And I think Part 2 and Part 5 and Part 6 are all better than the original. But I'm going to talk about Part 4 because I've already talked about Freddy vs. Jason enough. Part 4, I think, is the perfect slasher movie. Genuinely, I think it's the perfect slasher movie. If you're showing your friends, you're trying to get your friend into a slasher movies, you're going to show them Halloween. You're going to show them A Nightmare on Elm Street. And you're going to show them Friday the 13th Part 4. Because Friday the 13th Part 4 is, I think, the perfect slasher movie. You get some good kills, you get a great killer, you get a great final girl, you get Tommy Jarvis, you get the great kill of Jason, you get just so much stuff. You know, you get all the side characters, the horny teens. Those are great. Especially in this movie, they're very charismatic. I think that this is the perfect slasher movie, and my second favorite of the Friday the 13th franchise if Freddy vs. Jason didn't exist. So, and that is going to be it for today's video. Remember, if you did enjoy, make sure to hit like and subscribe so I know you're going to see more videos like it. Otherwise, until next time, you can hit the bell notification to be notified when I post any brand new videos and the rest of my Halloween Spooktacular. You can go check out the 10 previous episodes I've done and the 2 episodes to come. And I'll see you guys next time.